All right, hello traders. It is Tuesday, August 27, 2024. Let's get into the markets and some trading and what we did today out there. Day before NVDA earnings, so the market's kind of hanging on, waiting to see what NVIDIA is going to do. NVIDIA was one of the lone, I shouldn't say lone, but was one of the few of the Mag 7, 8, whatever, big tech stocks up today. So a little bit of movement before earnings, but I think really everybody's kind of hanging on to see, is NVIDIA going to come out and save the market and push us even higher? Or is NVIDIA going to, they're probably not going to lay an egg, but is NVIDIA going to not wow everybody and then things kind of tip over and fall a little bit lower? So overall, a little bit of an update in the markets today. So hence the green screen behind me. So good stuff there. So we're going to get into, we'll take a look at the account today. We're going to take a look at a bunch of charts today. We'll talk about some of the different trades that we have on and had on today. And I'll walk you through a little bit of a zero DTE trade today, just to give you some sense of how the whole thing, developed and moved on. So let's first just take a quick look at the account. And we'll talk about the main trading account today. Ended the day with a delta of 344, so good delta, down at 0.1%. We got theta at 986. It just keeps oscillating in that upper 900 to 1,000 range, 0.28%, totally fine. Net lick ticked up a little bit more today. So we're at the highest level we've been at for 3 weeks or so now. So net lick up to 355, 476. BP did increase today, even though we didn't add really any trades. BP just inched its way up sneakily on the day today, and volatility was down. So decrease in volatility, but our BP went up. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on there. But 184, 577 still puts us at, when we take bill away, only about 42%, 43%. So we're in good shape. And we booked another $450 today. Let's take a look at what that was, just so it sets up kind of what I want to talk about here a little bit. So we did do a zero DTE call spread, the 56.55, 56.85. Put that on for 55 cents. Took it off roughly 40 minutes later for 25 cents. So nice $450 winner. Again, took about maybe a little over a half an hour. 55% premium capture. 1% return on the funds used for that. So again, we're going to keep, putting these on. I haven't done as many, although we, great win rate for the year. And we talked about it yesterday as we went through these things, but the zero DTE trades now, we're now at 65 out of 68 winners on the year. So great win rate. But I think it's really helping us right now just keep generating cash as we wait for our trades to mature. And while we have the time, we're going to keep doing those. So we're adding some zero DTE stuff in, which we've always been doing. We're having a good year with it. Until things change, our strategy seems to be working pretty well. It's very simple. Put credit spreads. We've also got those working. We've got a bunch of 111s, a couple 112s. We got some Strangles working. Really everything out there working in conjunction to try to drive some of that premium theta decay that we love to have, which generates us income. We're getting close on some of these trades, just a couple days away from taking some profits, and that'll be fantastic. So good week so far. We're up 2 days in a row, mostly zero DTE trades and a few other things thrown in there. So I think that helps us out overall. And then our Vega is still staying right around that 5,800, 5,500, and somewhere oscillates in there quite a bit, while we're sitting on about 1,000 on theta. So my Vega to theta ratio, about 5 to 1. All right, so that's all we need to cover for the trades today. Let's just jump into some of the charts, and then I want to talk a little bit about the zero DTE that we did today. I get a lot of questions on that. I'm not here to give you everything that you'd ever want to know, and some of you may like it, some of you may not. I mean, I'm just sharing what I'm doing. Okay, if you like it, great, fantastic. If you don't, it's all good. Okay, I hope you get something out of this, but I'm just sharing you my journey trading, and we're going to stay consistent with what has been working. And the zero DTE really has worked out pretty doggone well for us. So let's just jump into the chart, and let me get off the screen so maybe you can see better. Let's take a look here and talk about what we saw on the day today. And we'll get into zero DT in a minute. I just want to cover some of the key charts. All right, here we go. So the S&P E-minis here today, just oscillating sideways, just stuck in this little bit of a range. And if we look at where is it? I just want a little bit of a I'm not going to get what I want. I just want to do this quickly anyway. So it doesn't really matter right now. I thought I had a tool. Anyway, let's just take a quick look. So don't want that at all. Just in this sideways consolidation zone. So you've got a bit of, this area from here, here, and then below. We're just stuck in this consolidation range right now. Okay. So stuck in this consolidation pattern, bit of a flag pattern here. Can we resolve to the upside? Absolutely. But MACD's falling. RSI's kind of just hanging flat. Squeezes, and it's on their way. But we also take a look at some of the volume, and we've got a bit of a bullish engulfing candle here. I don't know that it's the most major candle, but it's a pretty good sized one. Hasn't resolved itself one way or the other. And volume's in pretty just non-linear. I just don't have a direction on it. So we just continue to move sideways. This is perfect for our trades because the more sideways action we get, the better off we're going to be when it comes to watching our theta decay. And if we take a quick look over here on the weekly side of things, MACD has been reversing higher, RSI's moving higher. We're in good shape. We've got this, the anchor weighted VWAP here. So we got the AVWAP down here. We could fall quite a ways before we hit that or end up with that as support. So overall, I think the path of least resistance is up on the markets. Let's take a look at oil today. So if we're looking at oil, I mean, a lot of stuff on the screen here, so do the best you can to sift through it. One of the things I wanted to take a look at, I'm going to get this anchored VWAP out from way, way, way back then. If we look at where the fractal indicated a buy back here, even though we've hit some newer lows, this is still the lowest point we've been at. The anchored VWAP from here, we closed right on that today. So let's see if oil can hold in here, or does it continue to reverse itself lower. You're in a definite symmetrical triangle here, up, down, who knows. Right now, oil's just kind of struggling this week. Had a couple, had a good day yesterday. Okay, today, kind of an inside day. Nothing to take away from that yet. We'll see what happens with oil tomorrow. But we do have 112 trade on in oil, so this is a perfect setup for that. And we have a naked put on in oil, so the good setups for oil. If we're taking a look at gold here, gold continues to move its way higher. Okay. I'm also going to draw a bit of a line up here. I don't know the best way to draw it. Give us a little bit of sense here. A definite upward trend. Right now we have a basic ascending triangle here. So we'll see what happens with this ascending triangle. Can we break it? We're struggling with it right now. Overall, on these last two up days, volume was not significantly good. MACD's rolling over. RSI's kind of at a not quite overbought, but just not powering its way higher. It's losing some steam from back here. So as we're close to setting a new high, we're not really seeing necessarily that playing out in the RSI here. Now, we are overbought on the RSI on the weekly over here. You see that we've got the nice Bollinger Bands here that are expanding. So, the momentum's to the upside, but on the weekly, but the daily just kind of struggling right now. I don't think we're at strangle territory, but we'll keep watching. Bonds here, just a little bit of a rollover in bonds. So bonds, they climb up, they get a little weaker, they settle back down. There's some support coming up back here on it. We've got the 21, we've got the 50, 200 way down here. So I still very bullish on 30-year and then on the 10-year note as well. I really like this consolidation area. So liking where we are on the consolidation piece. So we'll keep an eye on that. But overall, there's the rectangle that I wanted. Okay. If we draw a bit of this rectangle here, and we've been just sitting in this volatility box, as we want to call it, wow, for almost 4.5 weeks now, 4 weeks, just sitting in this piece here, not, moving higher, moving lower. This is sitting up perfectly. It's a really good, probably getting close to a strangle opportunity. I think we can still break higher. Bollinger Bands are pinching in. So I think this is not a bad place to potentially put on a strangle, but I'm still bullish overall. And if we're looking at trend on this thing here, easy to really spot the direction overall of bonds. So moving higher, I like where bonds are. All right, copper. So if we're taking a look at copper futures, obviously we're in a definite downtrend here. However, we take this weekly downtrend. Okay, this week we're starting to really pop over that a bit. We can maybe follow it through a little bit more here as we bring this down. But out of the downtrend that we're in, we're breaking out sideways on this thing. I don't know where the best place to draw it is. Okay, that really hits everything. But moving out sideways, all in all, I like where copper is. I think you've got a little bit of a trend moving higher. Fractal buy here as well, so bullish on the fractals. Okay, RSI is rising, MACD is rising here on this. Squeeze is in a squeeze and potentially getting ready to fire here. I like copper. I think you got to get into copper potentially on this. I'm going to move up silver to the next piece because silver is almost a very similar looking chart. Okay, so silver is going to give you still in this same downtrend, okay, that you're trying to break out of here. But at the same time, silver's in a nice uptrend here. So a bit of a triangle pattern. I like where we are on silver. You've got Bollinger Bands expanding, so this thing still could have some, I think, some upside. Oops, did not mean to do that. I think this thing could have some upside to it as well. So I do like silver. I like copper more, but I think silver is not bad. We look at the NASDAQ. We definitely broke out of the downtrend line, moving sideways. I think the one thing to take a look at is that a lot of charts have these bullish engulfing patterns on them. So big bullish engulfing pattern. It looks like it may have resolved itself a little bit here, but not much. I'd like to see, if it had a little more downside. But today, nice bounce off the 21 EMA. Even though MACD is rolling over a bit, you're getting close to triggering a bearish PSR. I am not sold on the NASDAQ. I think it's all in NVIDIA's hands. I think we definitely, if we don't get stellar earnings and ridiculously great guidance that lists the entire stock market tomorrow on one stock, this thing looks pretty weak. However, the fact that it's bouncing off the 21, good reversal pattern. Any good news, I think this thing can bounce here and continue its way higher for a little bit of time before we start to see anything more of a sell-off happening. on the RTY, we were in this pattern here. We resolved to the downside back then. Okay, let's see if we can take this back off. So ran into just this consolidation, broke to the downside here, fractal reversal, broke to the downside. Take this off, VWAP off the screen. I'm actually going to put a VWAP from this, doesn't really, one of these lows here. Let's pick this candle. Okay, so we definitely have some support. I like the way this is shaping up. I think we still can move higher. Okay, I think everything is good for RTY to move its way higher. I don't know if there's try to hit every single piece in here. So a lot of different touches, especially this recent little bullish engulfing candle that we had. Haven't really followed through on it. A little dragonfly doji, I'm sure here. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, not dragonfly doji. That's a little bit more of a shooting star here, or gravestone doji on this one. Little bit of a reversal. Let's see what happens. So I got a little bit mixed up on that one. But I think this overall, we're still in a good uptrend. Things look, I think, pretty decent overall here. All right, last thing, let's take a look really quickly at live cattle. I think this is an interesting play. Potentially, we'll be looking at something if this continues. It's a little too early yet, but yet this downtrend line breaking out. Okay. We had this ascending triangle we couldn't get above. Okay. Still solid resistance on this thing. So that we'll keep that as a resistance level. I think this uptrend line's been broken. So right now we're looking to see, can live cattle break the downtrend line? MACD certainly looks to be reversing. RSI seems to be driving its way higher. Squeeze reversing higher. Let's see what happens if we can get any more follow through on this one. But overall, I like where we're going with live cattle. And then if we look at some of the Forex names, with the US dollar, and what did the dollar do today? You know, it was down another, 0.3%. So dollar weak, strong for Forex. These things just continue to march their way higher. Not a strangle opportunity. We had some put credit spreads in there. We've also had the same thing in the euro here. All of these look very strong, potentially getting a little frothy here. So if the US dollar starts to put in any kind of a base down here, which maybe that's starting, I don't know. But there's some indications that we are definitely oversold on this, that we'll see if a base starts to form, which would mean we would start to see a cap start to form on some of these Forex names. Nothing strangleable yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. And then, I've got wheat on here. It's putting in a bit of a base down here as well. So it's not bad, but I think the one I like more, and I don't have this on the chart, is soybean futures. So we take a look at soybean futures. Okay, see if we can. All right, where did it put itself? No. Either way, let's just get soybeans on here. I don't know why. Didn't have it, but I like this recovery on soybeans. So I like this recovery on soybeans pretty well. I think it looks pretty good. I think this is a definite opportunity here on soybeans, finding a bottom and maybe a put credit spread on soybeans. Volumes increasing, PSAR is bullish, everything's reversed here. You got MACD rising and moving higher. You've got RSI moving higher. So I do like soybeans a lot on here. I don't know why it did not add to. There it is. Not sure why it didn't add before. Okay, but let's keep moving it up. Wow, too many stocks. So we're looking at too many stocks on here. So I do like soybeans. So that's one I think that looks interesting. All right, a couple quick looks at some. We're going to look at a daily chart here. So let's get out of here and let's just look at the daily chart. It's got a little bit of volume profile on it as well. But what I want to show you is, I think, that thing. All right, so let's take a quick look at a few things here and let's get out of this and look at some stocks. All right, so if we take a look at some stocks on it here, what are we seeing out of this? We got this V pattern, okay, which super strong rebound and now just leveling out, but you've got it's not technically maybe a bearish engulfing, but you've got really a bearish engulfing candle here that has not resolved itself at all. Microsoft, bearish engulfing candle here, resolving itself to the downside. So we came up here, hit this volume shelf, okay, and then are falling away down here. So this bearish engulfing, definitely a bearish sign. If we take a look at Amazon, okay, same type of setup. Okay, let's get this off. Okay. Taking a look at Amazon, came up here, hit this volume area, bearish engulfing, resolving to the downside. Okay. Google, bearish engulfing candle as well, has not resolved itself. Okay, so there's a lot of unresolved bearish engulfing. There's a couple resolving themselves to the downside. Overall, I think there's a lot of bearishness if we look at some of the things out there. You've even got on NVDA here a bearish engulfing that is not resolved. Would have been good to resolve that before earnings. It's not looking like that's going to resolve itself. We didn't really come down and do anything on this. Blue skies ahead if we get cranking to the upside. Okay, this is in a really tight box here. So we'll see, what the break is going to be, but most likely tomorrow night, this thing's breaking one way or the other. And we'll see which way that may be. All right, Tesla, bearish engulfing, starting to resolve to the downside. Not really any key volume areas here until we get down to here. I don't like Tesla. Not loving the stock, not loving the company as much right now. This bearish engulfing starting to resolve to the downside. And then what do we got on Meta? Same type of thing. Bearish engulfing. Bullish engulfing was the last one we had. And now we're, no follow to the upside. A little bit of indecision. Meta, who knows? And then Netflix is definitely something that's been running to the upside. This looks pretty good. And then CRM, do like this stock. I think this is a potential interesting play here. Love the moves here. Bullish engulfing, hasn't really done a whole lot. Maybe starting to get itself moving as well. So we'll see what happens. But I do like CRM, and then I do like Costco in here. Huge move today. Just a massive big candle today. Great stuff. Sitting here. So if we look at Costco, could be splitting 5 hours ago. And so that, getting some boost off of that noise out there. So good news, potentially, if you like that. And I think this thing maybe runs up into the split a bit more. So I think you like to see a lot of round numbers. So 900 might be it, but can we hit it a little bit more? We'll see what happens. And then Bitcoin today, some weakness. So if we look at MicroStrategy, get these off of here, make it a little bit easier to see. Bearish engulfing here, big bullish candle here, just pulling back a bit, nothing crazy. We're definitely right in this volume pocket in here. So some support down below, so a little resistance in here. I think if we also take a look at the volume, the VWAP, anchored VWAP from up here, you're sitting right down on that today. And if we look down here, this has been a nice supporting anchored VWAP as well. So I think we've got support in here, potentially some support in here. We'll see if MicroStrategy can get going tomorrow. Coin giving up a little bit as well here. So coin rocking over a little bit. You know, we had this bearish engulfing, didn't really resolve one way or the other. So it's kind of, again, another unresolved bearish engulfing candle. All right, I don't want to spend too much more time on it, but I see a lot of potentially bearish signs out there. Does that mean we're going lower? Does that mean we can't jump higher with NVIDIA earnings tomorrow? Not at all. Individual stocks, but there's a good number of plays to be had out there. I like where we're positioned. We've got still some dry powder if we want to use it. We have BP available. If something shows itself and comes to light, I still really want to get into a copper put credit spread. I think they really set up well. We're going to be looking at that again tomorrow. We tried one yesterday, did not get filled. We did not do it today. We just kind of sat and held in there. We'll see where we stand on buying power. We're right getting close to that 50 range. Let me see where we ended up today. Okay, yeah, we're right at 50, even though it's 40 something without the bill in there. I really want to keep the lid on that to the best that I can. All right, and then lastly, when we take a look at some of the volatility indicators, VIX falling, okay, dropped all the way to 1542 now. The VVIX as well, also falling a bit. So volatility is starting to come off. Heading into NVIDIA, I think that's the big announcement tomorrow. We'll see if that moves the market one way or the other, and we'll trade accordingly. So we will trade what we see. Have a great evening. If you found this video helpful, click the like button down below. Love to see you like this. Share with other people. Share my trading journey with you. Hopefully this is helpful to you and you get something out of it. Have a great evening, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.